Welcome to the deep dive. So we've been sifting through quite a stack of notes and articles on personal finance lately,
hmm
focusing specifically on spending, on expenditure. And you might think, like I did, that you've got a decent handle on where the big money goes.
Right. The mortgage, the car payment,
Exactly. But what kept jumping out from these sources, almost unexpectedly, was the surprising power of something much smaller.
the daily expenses.
Yeah, those little everyday costs.
That's absolutely right. It's fascinating because the big financial decisions feel like the main event, don't they? The ones that really shape things.
They demand attention.
They do. But this material, it really digs into what one source called the unseen velocity of small costs.
Unseen velocity, I like that.
Yeah, it's about how easily they can kind of speed up financial leakage without you even noticing. They just bypass your attention because, well, each one feels so tiny.
Insignificant.
Okay, so let's contrast that. The common wisdom, and frankly what feels intuitive, is that managing your money means wrestling with the giants, right? The big stuff.
The housing costs, car payments, maybe a big holiday fund, those are the expenses that make you actually sit down and, budget.
Exactly, you plan for those. But the core argument running through these sources, piece after piece, is that the real battleground, maybe, where many people find it hard to actually build savings or just feel in control.
Yeah,
It isn't always that planned big stuff. It's the cumulative effect of the unplanned, the often thoughtless small buys.
like the daily coffee.
The daily coffee, absolutely. The snack you grab, that impulse click online, maybe taking a quick ride instead of walking a few blocks, little things.
And the material we looked at had a really stark example of this. It broke down spending just, $5 a day.
Just $5 seems like nothing.
Feels like nothing in the moment, yeah. But then it shows you that's $150 a month, which then becomes $1,800 over a whole year.
$1,800.
Just on that one small, seemingly harmless habit, it really forces you to see how quickly those tiny amounts actually compound into something pretty substantial.
And what the research points to here is what they call the hidden effect. These small expenses, they're dangerous not just because they add up, although that's huge,
Right.
but because they become habits. They're often what one article termed low-friction purchases.
Low friction, meaning easy to do.
Super easy.
Yeah.
Little thought, little effort needed. They just fly under the radar of your conscious decision-making. And that's where money just seems to evaporate.
Unlike, say, buying a fridge.
Exactly. That's a planned purchase. You probably researched it, saved for it.
Right. That makes sense. If I'm buying a new laptop or planning some home repairs, I compare prices, I budget. There's a whole process involved. So the sources are basically saying the danger with the $5 coffee or the $10 lunch isn't just the amount itself.
No, it's the lack of that thinking, that intentionality.
The way it just slips by because it triggers what one source called decision fatigue. Is that right?
That's a key concept they brought up. After making big choices all day, work, family, whatever, you just kind of default to the easy, small spend later on. You're tired of deciding.
Okay, so you just grab the snack or click buy now.
Precisely. And another angle from the material linked it to value misalignment.
Value misalignment.
Yeah. We make big purchases, usually aligned with big values, like a home for security, right? Or a reliable car.
Sure.
But the small expenses, often they aren't really aligned with any significant value. They're just convenience or maybe a quick hit of gratification.
I see. And that disconnect makes them feel like they don't matter.
That's the argument. Even while they're quietly draining resources that could be going towards those things, you actually value more deeply.
Okay, so this hidden effect, this decision fatigue, this misalignment, how do the sources suggest we actually combat this? What are the steps?
Well, the material offered surprisingly simple, practical steps. It really emphasized consistency over complexity, which I thought was interesting.
Simple is good.
First, the absolute foundation. Tracking all your expenses, even the tiny ones, for maybe a few weeks or a month.
Just writing it all down.
Just the act of seeing it, seeing where the money actually goes, is presented as like the crucial first move.
Sounds a bit tedious, maybe, but I can definitely see how just the act of writing down every $3 or $5 purchase might interrupt that low-friction habit you mentioned.
Exactly. It introduces friction, awareness. Then the sources suggested setting some conscious limits, maybe a daily or weekly cap for that kind of discretionary spending.
The small stuff budget.
Sort of, yeah. And fundamentally introducing just a moment of pause before any small, non-essential buy.
Like asking yourself a question.
Just asking, is this really necessary? Or is it just a habit? Maybe does this align with how I want to be using my money? That little pause can make a difference.
And it's not about total deprivation, is it? The materials seem to frame it more around building lower-cost habits.
Yes, exactly that. Like making your coffee at home most days, planning meals ahead so you're not grabbing expensive lunches, finding free ways to unwind instead of paid distractions.
So replacing the unintentional spend with intentional choices. Choices that might actually be more fulfilling or at least more cost-effective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And connecting this back to you, the listener, what these sources really hammered home is that getting a grip on these seemingly tiny costs isn't just about saving a few bucks here and there.
This is bigger than that.
It's presented as a fundamental path towards genuine financial freedom. By capturing that unseen velocity, you redirect that money, that energy, towards things that truly matter to you.
Like saving for big goals or investing.
Or just having the peace of mind knowing your money isn't just vanishing into thin air on things you barely remember buying, spending intentionally.
Yeah, it really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From fighting these giant, infrequent battles with big bills,
Right?
to winning lots of small daily victories with your habits.
And this raises, I think, a really important final thought. It's something that echoed across the different articles and notes we looked at.
Okay.
While it's true, we often spend our money on small things, almost thoughtlessly. The ability to consciously manage and direct those small expenses, that's also precisely how we build the foundation for our financial future. It works both ways.
Huh. So the small stuff can be the drain, but controlling it is also the key to building something solid. That's definitely something to reflect on as you go about your day. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.